If you can get up in the morning and find your way to the bathroom, do what you got to do, get on your way and get going, and not stumble and bounce off no walls to get there, God been good to you. God didn't say that you got to get in the midst of the muck and the mire before you have a testimony. If you got up this morning, you got a testimony. You ought to tell somebody. See, God said right now. See, we need to understand that God is all powerful. God is almighty. He is a sovereign God, that he stepped out on nothing and made the earth and the sea. But when it comes to this message, God is helpless without you. Well, wait a minute. God could have just went and had some angels do it. God could just show up and put a billboard out there and say, hey, I'm God, come worship me. If he did, somebody try to explain it away. If the Lord split the sky right now and say, believe in my son Jesus, somebody say it's a hoax. You already got folks who make their living off of proving that God don't work. They go around following evangelists all over the world and say, oh, he a fake because everybody he touch ain't get healed. Wait a minute. What that got to do with anything? Because the healing is done by God. That's done as the Holy Spirit gives utterance. But what that got to do with me being an ambassador? Because folk need to see that God is working in your life. Folk need to understand in your situation. Folk looking at you and looking at themselves, and they doing the same thing you doing. They getting up, going to work every day. They going out, they cutting their grass. They having barbecues. They're growing old, all in the same community. But they're looking at you because something about you is a little bit different. You got highlight bills just like they got, but you ain't complaining. Your children get ups and downs just like their children get ups and downs, but you're not complaining. Your job is just as shaky as their job, because probably you work in the same place, but they ain't sweating it. You know, your health situation might be up and down like your health situation, but you ain't crying about your aches and pains. Folks want to know what's different about you. Why is it that you ain't hollering? Why isn't it you ain't crying? Why is it that you ain't going out there trying to find some solution in the Budweiser bottle? You got something different. Because if it hadn't been for the Lord who was on your side, if it hadn't been for God that put a hedge around you, if it hadn't been for the goodness of God who let you know that no matter how tight it gets, I'll never leave you or forsake you. If it hadn't been for the Lord on your side, you'd have been on the side of the road like everybody else. Folk want to know what's going on. Folk want to know why it's working in your life. Folk want to know, and that's your opportunity. Let me tell you about Jesus. You know the Son of the living God who came down through 42 generations, who was born of a virgin, who suffered under Pontius Pilate, who was charged for stuff he didn't do. They took him on a hill, hung him high, and stretched him wide. He died. He died. He died on Calvary's hill. They took him down off the cross, laid him in a vile tomb. He laid there all day Friday, all night Friday night, all day Saturday, all night Saturday night. But early on Sunday morning, he got up. He got up. And because he did, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all sorrow's gone. Because I know who holds the future. And because he lives, I can go on. Tell your neighbor, you need to tell it. You need to tell somebody. You need to tell somebody. God been good to you. Did God bring you from a mighty long way? Did he bless you? Did he heal you? Did he touch your finances when you didn't know how you were going to make it? Did he straighten out that wayward child? Did he make that professor behave? If he did something for you, you ought to say, yeah, 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 God is able. Got to tell it. Got to tell it. Not that I'm under obligation, but I tell it because I love the Lord. I tell it because God been good to me. I tell it because somebody know that what he did for me, he'll do for you. I'll tell it. I'll tell it with my last breath. I'll tell it on my sick bed. I'll tell it on my deathbed. I'll tell it when I'm up. I'll tell it when I'm down. I'll tell it because God's been good to me. Can't nobody tell it like I can tell it. I can't tell how good God been to you, but I can tell you that God been good to me. I'll tell it that just like he was good to me, he'll be good to you. All you got to do is trust him. Do you trust him? Do you trust him? Give God some praise in here.